Hello, everybody. Dorothy Morgan here, professional astrologer. Come to my website, dorothymorganastrologer.com. Classes, lessons, mentorship, sessions. Let's get started. We're going to talk about the full moon in Leo. It is on February 16th. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I am looking at. Here we are. This is a wonderful full moon. The full moons, this is it. Here it is, the sun in Aquarius and the full moon in Leo. Full moons, fiery, the fiery full moons, that's air. It's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Those are the fire signs. When the moon is in those signs, we do feel a lot of heightened emotion and excitement. And when it's in the sign of Leo, yeah, let me give you a few things that Leo's all about, right? So here's 10 things that, Leo inspires especially when we have a full moon. So it's very passionate, it's dynamic, it's creative, always willing to take a risk of the heart, to fall in love. That's excitement and that's passion. I already said passion, but it's recognition and it's romance, right? It's just like, I want my heart. The full moon in Leo wants to feel, they want their heart to be full and appreciated and valued and recognized. There's so many, it's incredibly passionate and beautiful and creative. So when we have the full moon, what the full moon represents, energetically is a culmination of energy. Now it's culminating just from the 2 weeks ago when we had a new moon. However, I like to follow a longer lunar phase. And when we have a full moon, that tells me 18 months ago, there was a new moon in a very similar location as the full moon that we have going on right here. Let's see when that was. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to lunar phase, and we've got current lunar phase, and it will be August 18th. Here is that chart. I think you can see it. August 18th, 2020 was the new moon at 26 degrees of Leo. So that's very close to where our full moon is. Here's the full moon. I know this is small, especially if you're on your phone. However, so August 18th, I want you to look back. 2020, right? The whole world was shut down at that point in time. But everybody been shut down for months. And by then we were getting antsy and bored and, discovering new things to play with and new passions and new excitement. Even though we may have been bored or nervous or whatever you were. But I want you to look back, because that new moon on August 18th is very connected to this. Let me get this out of the way. Very connected to this full moon that we have going on right now. And since the full moon in Leo is, what we're creative about, what we create and how we're creative, what we're passionate about. So look at what you began back in August of 2020 and see how that has come forward. And if you had something that you began back then that you were passionate about, is it something that you want to continue now? Or is it something that, you can shed and leave it behind? That will be up to you to decide. But the full moon in Leo absolutely shows us what we're excited about, what we're passionate about, what we want to create. And when it's a full moon, we have things that we need to release. So if you've got your eyes on the ball and you have some things you want to do, but you're not able to really engage fully in your passion, then that means you need to find some time to do it. So there'll be some things that you'll want to release. You'll naturally be able to do this. This is not to be a chore. We typically during full moons will release things that aren't that don't need to be part of as we move forward, as we're always moving forward. Well, we do look back once in a while, don't we? That's when triggers show up, right? It brings us right back to where we were. But here, let me draw on the screen here too. Here's that full moon. Now it's making a beautiful and a quite interesting connection. There it is, to those things that look like headphones or headsets. That's the lunar nodes, and those are the zodiac signs where the eclipses are going to be. These two guys are bound forever. They never leave each other. They're always opposite, always the exact same number. It's the collective movement of the globe, the world, the planet. It's the collective life path, if you will. What are we focusing on now? And again, it takes 18 months for this cycle to work through as well, the lunar nodes through each zodiac sign. This full moon just triggers them. They're all fixed signs. It's called the Grand Cross, fixed Grand Cross. I'm teaching, sorry, I teach all the time. It's a fixed cross. And so we have something as a collective that we're shifting. What is it? Taurus, what we value. Finances, money, the earth, food, right? This can be personal and this can be collective. You have to see where these 4 points are in your own chart to bring this into a more personal reading, all right? But generally speaking, we're all dealing with what is it we value, finances, food, the earth, whatever, because our values are constantly shifting. The South Node in Scorpio, meaning that we really have a lot of things that need to come to the surface that we need to process and heal. Things are in there really deep, and that Scorpio is yuck, and it will bring things to the surface. So bad behavior, old patterns, which really do us harm and aren't great. So we're working on processing that. This full moon activates them. Boom. We've got a lot going on here that is really pulling us forward as a society, as humanity. All right. Again, bring it back to you and personal. What is it? How does that resonate for you? Is there something that you know is changing? Are you willing to open your heart again in a relationship? Right? That's the Leo. You have to ask yourself those questions. You don't have to, but if it's part of your agenda. And there's a lot of transformation and change in this because the moon is connected to Scorpio, but it's also connected to Pluto. You can see those green lines. That's called the quincunx right there. Okay. Now, so we have a lot of transformation happening. So the last aspect, the moon made before it was opposite in the full moon was a quincunx to Pluto. So the moon's going to be doing this. This is something that is unique and is going on for the next number of months. I could stop my share now. For the next number of months, not every single time, but this is aside from the full moon. So let me tie the full moon up. So figure out what it is you want to release. A lot of people like to write stuff down, burn it, do your ritual after the full moon. So the night of Wednesday night, you can do it, right? Just wait till the afternoon time on the 16th Eastern time zone. Process, eliminate. All right. That's what we're going to do. So we have the time and the space to be more passionate and to bring in more creativity and to trust what we know in our hearts. All right. That's important. Now, again, it's not every single time that the moon moves through zodiac signs. It depends on its speed. Sometimes it's 2.5 days. Sometimes it's 3.5 days, but the moon will move through a sign approximately every 2.5 days. All right. Now, since Pluto is at the very, very end of the zodiac, the sign that it's in, I'll share my screen again to actually show you. It's this top bar. You can see right up there how Pluto is at very, very end of just the numbers of the zodiac sign it's in. That means every time the moon gets ready to leave a zodiac sign before it ingresses into the next sign, it's going to connect with Pluto one way or another, whether it's an easy aspect or a difficult aspect. So the moon, and then she goes void, of course. So the moon always connects with every single planet for every 2.5 or 3 days. However, I just think the last aspect she makes in a sign, and she's void, of course, till she enters the next sign. Again, this happens about 70% of the time over the next few months. I only went a few months ahead. She's in her own transformation. We're in this deep transformation, transmutation, metamorphosis. Our emotions are going through these deep, deep changes. So every couple of days, the moon is connecting with Pluto as the last aspect she makes in that sign. Those are the qualifications for a void, of course, moon. We got some work to do. So it can be natural. It should be natural. You don't want to fight this. So if you're feeling a little moody every few days, especially if you know how to read an ephemeris or the lunar calendar, now you'll know why. And so just allow that deeper. I'm not saying we're all going to walk around brooding, but I think a lot of people are. Who isn't? There's a lot of people are. All right. I think I'm going to leave us with that. And for those of you who get to see this on Patreon, we are going to talk about the second part of this video for you guys will be through the houses. So I'll do a separate video for that over on that membership platform. If you'd like to join me there, people here on YouTube, that's a wonderful way to support the free content that I give here freely. Awesome. Thank you. Blessings and namaste.